The day I was found by the Shin family, my older brother, Tom, gave me a husky. As the 88th successor of the Mao Mountain sect, I could tell at a glance that the husky's body contained the soul of the fake heiress. If I lived with the husky for 49 days, my body would be taken over by the fake heiress's soul, and I would become the husky. The next day, I smilingly gave Tom a Scottish fold cat. Tom, if you want to swap lives, you have to see if you've got what it takes, right? Mom and Dad are usually busy with work and don't have time to spend with you. So Tom bought you a husky. Promise, Tom, you'll take good care of the husky. Tom's gentle voice was in my ear. I tilted my head, staring at the husky in front of me. Having lived in Mao Mountain for 18 years, I had already inherited all the sex techniques and secret arts. I could see at once that the soul of the deceased fake heiress was inside the husky's body. She was looking me up and down with disdain and contempt. A few barks meant, "Why do you think Mom, Dad, and Tom suddenly brought you back? They just want to resurrect me. Once I successfully swap bodies with you, I'll immediately gouge out your eyes, skin you, and make you into dog meat stew." I looked at Tom and asked where the husky came from. His expression flickered a little guilty. "Of course, I bought it from a pet store. Why, don't you like it?" I nodded, speaking softly. "Yeah, I don't like dogs." Tom paused, clearly not expecting me to say that. "But this is the first gift I've ever given you. Are you going to be so unappreciative of my kindness?" My parents, standing nearby, heard this and also started to persuade me. "Dogs are man's best friend, Cindy. Why don't you try to interact with the dog? Maybe you'll see her as family. This husky understands human speech. If you don't believe me, I'll show you." Under Dad's commands to sit, stand, and clap, the husky showed obedience and cleverness. Mom added in my ear, "See how well behaved she is? You can develop feelings for her over time. Cindy, Mom, Dad, and Tom are just worried you're too lonely." As she spoke, Mom started to cry. Tom looked at me with indignation, as if my refusal to accept the dog was a heinous crime. "Mom, Dad, Tom, do you really want me to accept this dog?" Mom and Dad answered affirmatively. Tom nodded emphatically and demanded, "From today on, you are fully responsible for her care. You will eat and sleep with her, understand?" I smirked. How could I not know their purpose in making me keep this dog? As long as I coexisted with this dog for 49 days, the fake heiress's soul in the dog's body would take over mine, resurrecting her completely through me. And my soul would be sealed in the husky's body, forever becoming a tail-wagging dog. Thus, any lingering desire for family affection vanished. I obediently said, "Don't worry, Mom, Dad, Tom. Since this is the dog you gave me, I will definitely eat and live with her and take good care of her." Hearing my voice, the husky barked happily twice. "Ugly thing, you didn't even want to keep me. Wait until I swap bodies with you, I'll kill you." To give the dog better care, I took the husky out to buy dog food. Walking to the entrance of a pet store, I saw a 6 Scottish fold cat lying in a cage. I asked the owner the price. The owner said, "Scottish folds are hard to raise. They're finicky and get sick easily. You'd be better off buying another breed that's easier to care for and more obedient." I interrupted the owner. "I want this one. How much?" Seeing my stubbornness, the owner said, $500. "This cat won't live long. If you buy it, you can't return it." I nodded, paid the money, and took the cat. Then I found a deserted place. I opened my senior apprentice brother's urn. I formed hand seals and incantations. A green light flashed, and the fake heiress's soul inside the husky was sealed into the Scottish fold's body. Another red light flashed, and my senior apprentice brother's soul transferred from the urn into the husky's body. The spell was complete. The Scottish fold started yowling frantically. "What did you do to me? Wasn't I a husky? How did I become a Scottish fold? You monster! If Mom, Dad, and Tom find out what you did to me, they'll kill you. Change me back. Change me back now." I ignored the Scottish fold's cries and reached out to stroke the husky's head. "Senior brother, you'll need to endure this for 49 days, and then you can be resurrected through Tom's body. Then I'll take you back to Mao Mountain." Last summer vacation, senior brother died saving a drowning child. I searched everywhere, but couldn't find a way to resurrect him. Now, with the husky as a vessel, and by using the soul-swapping technique the evil Taoist priest my parents found had cast on the dog, I could bring Senior Brother back. Senior Brother nodded, his eyes full of sorrow. Cindy, aren't you afraid of disappointing your biological parents and Tom by doing this? I smiled slightly and shook my head. They disregarded my life to resurrect the fake heiress, so why should I care if they're disappointed? Senior Brother sighed softly and said no more. When I got home, I gave the newly bought Scottish fold cat to Tom. Tom looked disgusted. I don't like cats. I don't want to raise a cat. I acted aggrieved, repeating the words Tom had said to me earlier. This is the first gift I've ever given you. Are you going to be so unappreciative of my kindness? Tom was stunned, his face stiff. I continued. Tom gave me a husky, so logically I should give you a gift. I thought Tom really liked pets. My acting was superb, my eyes even turned red. Seeing this, Mom and Dad, who were standing by, wanted to persuade me not to force Tom. They seemed to have forgotten how they had forced me just a short while ago. I looked at them with teary eyes. They were speechless for a moment, and could only persuade Tom to accept the Scottish fold. Tom had no choice but to say stiffly, I can raise this cat, but if I raise it to death, don't blame me. I replied timidly, I believe Tom will take good care of the little kitty. Meow meow meow. A few cat cries made Tom frown. But I heard the fake heiress say, I'm definitely going to tell Mom, Dad, and Tom what you did to me. Mom, Dad, and Tom will definitely not let you and that dog by your side get away with this. Just you wait to die. She thrashed about, wishing she could scratch my face. But right now she was in Tom's hands. Tom found her meowing annoying and slapped her on the head. What are you yelling about? Be quiet. The blow was heavy, and it made the fake heiress cry. I smiled and led the husky back to my room. The door wasn't closed, and I heard Tom complaining outside. How am I supposed to raise a cat? Especially one that looks half dead. Can't we just throw it out? Dad sighed lightly. Even if you don't want to raise the cat, you have to. There are still 49 days left. You and your sister need to have a good relationship. Mom also said earnestly, That's right. Remember what's important. It's just a cat, don't let it ruin important matters. Tom relented. All right, I'll keep it. But I really hate cats. Their meowing is so annoying. Even though she heard Tom say this, the fake heiress continued to meow, hoping to tell Mom, Dad, and Tom that her soul had been swapped by me. Unfortunately, Mom, Dad, and Tom hadn't learned any witchcraft at Mau Mountain. They couldn't understand what a cat's meows meant. As Tom slapped the fake heiress again and again, she finally gave up resisting. In fact, in just one night, the fake heiress developed a stress reaction to Tom. Bloody stools, bloody urine. She was clearly sick with fright. Dad, help! Tom has a weird fetish. He won't even leave a cat alone. Mom, I don't want to sleep with Tom anymore, boo-hoo-hoo. The fake heiress, while Tom was at school, meowed repeatedly, hoping Mom and Dad would hear her cries for help. But Dad was hard of hearing. Mom just thought the Scottish fold was in heat. So when Tom and I came home from school, we heard Mom say, This cat seems to be in heat. It's been yowling all day, it's so noisy. When you have time, take her to get spayed. Otherwise, we'll spend our whole weekend just listening to her meow. Hearing Mom's words, the fake heiress shivered and immediately shut her mouth. But Tom said mischievously, Why spay her? Let's breed her. I've never seen a pregnant cat. Besides, we can sell the kittens for money. The fake heiress swallowed hard, her soft body stiffening. I stood by, holding the husky, and agreed with Tom. Tom has a point. I'm about to walk the dog anyway. I can go with Tom to get the cat bred. Tom had won his basketball game at school today, and was in a good mood. Rarely he didn't refuse my suggestion. He took some money, and we went to the pet store together. When we got there, Tom explained our purpose to the store owner, who immediately brought out several male cats. Tom asked about the breeding price. The owner said, How do you want to breed them? We can do artificial insemination, or natural breeding. Tom became interested. Cats can be artificially inseminated? The owner said, Of course, it's just a bit more expensive. We usually recommend customers choose natural breeding. It's more economical, only $50 per session. Tom laughed out loud. Ha! Taking a cat out to breed is like going to a nightclub to find a call girl. $50 isn't expensive. Let's do it 10 times then. The fake heiress tensed up. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Holding the husky, I also felt it was a bit cruel. But worse was yet to come. The owner said one mating session takes about 5 minutes, so 10 sessions would take 5 or 6 days. Why does it take so long? Cats, like people, get exhausted. The owner said. Tom threw out $500. Who asked you to find just one male cat for her? Find 10 male cats now, and put them in a cage with her. I don't have time to bring her here every day for breeding. The owner added. Well, that doesn't guarantee successful breeding. Tom said it didn't matter. I just came here because I don't want her yowling all day when she's in heat, giving my mom a headache. Tom looked at me. You won't blame me for breeding the cat like this, will you? I smiled faintly and shook my head. Of course not. This is Tom's cat. Tom can make all the decisions. The owner glanced at the Scottish fold, then at the wealthy Tom, and immediately agreed. And so, I saw the fake heiress screaming and struggling, trying to escape. Hearing the fake heiress's cries, Tom said nonchalantly, Look, this cat can't wait. Her heat cries are so piercing. Then, the pet store owner threw the fake heiress into a cage full of male cats. To avoid disturbing them, the owner specially drew a small curtain. We only heard a commotion inside. And Tom, at this moment, wasn't idle either. He took out more money and picked out a pile of dog treats at the pet store. Jerky, sausages, freeze-dried treats. Whatever was expensive he bought. While feeding the husky, Tom didn't forget to pet him. Look at you, so obedient. That stupid cat can't compare to you at all. I sat aside, quietly watching the husky eat well. But my ears also twitched at the sound of the fake heiress's voice. Behind the small curtain, the fake heiress was wailing in agony. Let me out. Help. Help. Mom and Dad, help. Tom's gone crazy. Boo-hoo-hoo, don't come over here. I don't want it anymore. Stupid cat. Get lost. I'm not in heat. I'm not. Boo-hoo-hoo. An hour later, Tom took the Scottish fold home. The cat lay limply in Tom's arms, as if her soul had left her. Her whole body was stiff, like a corpse. Back home, dinner was ready. Tom tossed the cat onto the cat tree and sat down at the dinner table. I just got the cat bred. Maybe in a few days she'll have a litter of kittens. I can give them away or sell them. I heard this breed of cat sells for a good price. Mom brought the steak and shrimp out from the kitchen. She glanced at the cat sitting quietly on the cat tree, then smiled. She's much calmer after being bred. She's not making a sound now. Looks like the male cat satisfied her well. Tom looked at me and said deliberately, Of course. Some cats are just like some people, born cheap. Tom was making a veiled insult at me. I ignored him, my eyes fixed on the sumptuous food on the table. When Mom said we could start eating, I slowly began to enjoy the delicious meal. Tom snorted coldly. Your dog hasn't eaten yet. How can you eat first? I said innocently. Tom already fed the dog a lot of snacks. He probably isn't hungry. Tom rolled his eyes at me. Huskies have a big appetite. Those snacks are just enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. Saying that, Tom put his share of steak and shrimp into the dog's food bowl. He rubbed the husky's head, looking doting. Eat up. Senior brother sniffed the food in the bowl. The aroma was intoxicating. Then he stuck out his tongue and devoured it like a whirlwind. Seeing the husky eating happily, Dad and Mom also looked pleased. They both gave their share of steak to the husky. Mom even said with some self-reproach, My bad, I forgot how much dogs eat. Next time I'll make more. We can't let the dog go hungry, even if someone else does. Meanwhile, the fake heiress, crouching on the cat tree, smelled the aroma and couldn't help but come over. She sidled up to Mom and licked her ankle. After getting Mom's attention, she looked at Mom with pitiful eyes as if begging. Mom, I haven't eaten in 2 days. I just lost a lot of energy and urgently need nourishment. Mom, it's me, Evie, boo-hoo-hoo. 2 meows made Mom frown. Seeing this, Tom kicked the cat in the butt. Then he casually threw some bones he had gnawed on onto the floor. Eat. Don't say I'm abusing you. The kitten wailed and cried. Mom, Dad, and Tom were unmoved. They even added insult to injury. Cats these days are so finicky, they even turn their noses up at bones people have chewed on. If you keep raising it like this, it'll starve to death in a few days. If it dies, it dies. I never liked cats anyway. I buried my head and ate, not saying a word, pretending I hadn't heard anything. In the blink of an eye, 20 days passed. The fake heiress's belly grew bigger day by day. Tom took the fake heiress for an ultrasound and found out she was pregnant with 8 kittens. Tom was overjoyed. He posted on social media, wanting to sell the fake heiress's kittens. The fake heiress curled up on the cat tree, stroking her belly, wanting to cry but having no tears. During this time, she hadn't given up on resisting. She had tried to go into my room and scratch my face. But because senior brother was protecting me, she always returned injured. She tried to write messages by stepping in ink and making paw prints, to tell her parents and Tom the truth. But when Tom saw she could recognize words, he immediately took her to school to show off to his classmates, completely ignoring the sentence she wrote. I am Evie. The fake heiress was tortured until she barely looked like a cat. She decided to run away from home. But a weak, pregnant cat, out on the streets, faced countless feral cats wanting to attack her. Feral cats are called feral because their behavior is savage enough. Those cats weren't like the well-behaved cats from the pet store. The fake heiress had only been gone for one night when she returned covered in blood. When they took her to the vet said, "The tearing is severe. She needs a C-section." Tom said, "Then do it." The vet gave Tom a long list of charges. Tom flipped to the final amount. $100,000? A human C-section doesn't even cost that much. Well, pets don't have health insurance, and the surgery is quite difficult. If we don't do it now, the kittens probably won't make it, and we might even have to remove her uterus. That would be too much trauma for the cat. Since you're her owner, you have to be responsible for her, right? The vets and nurses at the animal hospital all spouted the usual animal protection rhetoric. But Tom wasn't falling for it. He did a quick online search. He had the doctor prescribe the cat abortion pills that cost $5 each. There are 8 kittens, so I'll feed you 8 pills. You better abort them properly and stop causing me trouble. Why is raising a cat so expensive? Looking at the fake heiress's lifeless eyes, I felt a twinge of pity and reminded Tom. The instructions say this medicine should be given in small, multiple doses. Feeding 8 pills at once might kill her. Before I could finish the last word, Tom interrupted me. What, is this my cat or your cat? Or do you want to raise her? I'm done with it. I swallowed hard and said no more. I watched helplessly as Tom forced 8 abortion pills down the fake heiress's throat. That night, the Scottish fold kept crying weakly. Save me, can anyone save me? Tom is a demon. If I die, I will curse this family. I will avenge my children. I will avenge myself. Night after night, the fake heiress surprisingly survived through her strong willpower. She even buried the 8 already formed kittens in the garden downstairs. She cried for a long time, so much that her eyes were almost blind. Tom still thought she was too noisy and threatened to breed her again. Hearing those words, the fake heiress trembled all over and dared not make a sound anymore. Just when I thought these 49 days would pass peacefully, senior brother suddenly went crazy. He wrecked the house, smashing everything that could be smashed. All because he heard my parents planning to give me to a 50-year-old rich businessman to ensure their company project would be successfully launched. Mom's cherished skincare products were full of husky urine. Dad's antique vase was full of husky poop. Tom's favorite basketball shoes and figurines were also ruined. The Huskies' rampage caused significant losses for Mom and Dad. Mom, Dad, and Tom were heartbroken over their things, but they were more worried about whether the husky had rabies. They rushed the husky to various pet hospitals for checkups. The expensive examination fees amounted to over $200,000. Tom still felt the checkup wasn't thorough enough. Finally, they went to the most famous pet hospital in the capital to see a specialist. The specialist said, "Huskies go through a rebellious phase during their growth and development. Just spend more time with the dog, love the dog more, and influence the dog with love. Everything will gradually get better." Mom, Dad, and Tom breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, they made a connection. The dog's rebellious phase is a developmental issue. Evie, being in the dog's body, must have suffered mental torment. Yes, we must be more patient, make more delicious food for the dog, make the dog happy, and make Evie's soul more comfortable. And so, I saw boxes upon boxes of dog treats being moved into the house. Piles upon piles of dog toys were delivered. Food, drinks, and toys were all provided according to the highest standards for dogs. Evie, just bear with it a little longer, and you can be resurrected as a human. Then wherever you want to go, Mom, Dad, and Tom will take you. As for that Cindy, when she turns into a dog, we'll stew her. Eat her flesh. The fake heiress, curled up on her little perch, watched the husky eating well. She also watched Mom, Dad, and Tom playing ball and frisbee with the husky on the lawn. There was no light left in her eyes. Occasional low whimpers were just curses. If I can be resurrected, I will make you all suffer everything I have experienced. Lord Cat God, please help me. I don't want to live like this anymore. But the fake heiress probably didn't know that making a pact with the Lord Cat God came at a price. Under the meticulous care of Mom, Dad, and Tom, the husky finally calmed down for a while. Until the 50th day arrived. The husky went crazy again. It started barking furiously, spinning and jumping wildly around the house. I looked at Tom, whose body was now occupied by Senior Brother's soul. His eyes were gentle, just like when I first met Senior Brother. Senior Brother was finally back. I hugged Senior Brother, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. My parents were also deeply moved. Evie, you've suffered during this time. From now on, our family will be together and happy forever. Mom and Dad thought Evie's soul had taken over my body. They further believed that, at this moment, my soul was in the husky's body. So, when the husky was barking wildly, Mom and Dad were no longer polite to him. Dad grabbed a broom and hit the husky with it. Mom unhesitatingly locked the husky in a cage, depriving him of his freedom. The husky stared with wide eyes, uncomprehending, full of shock. Mom, Dad, I'm your son. How did I become a dog? What's going on? What's going on? He barked repeatedly. Mom and Dad had no patience. They hit him on the nose with a stick. The husky yelped in pain and convulsed. It was the fake heiress, still in the cat's body, who reminded the husky to stop struggling. After a hushed conversation between the cat and dog, the husky finally realized that the soul inside the Scottish fold was Evie, his own sister. But what good was it now? A stupid dog. A dying cat. How could they fight against me and Senior Brother? This is the princess dress you always wanted. Dad bought you this crown from an auction house. Put it on, my little princess. I wore the $1 million dress and jewelry my parents gave me and deliberately walked in front of the husky and the Scottish fold. I twirled around several times. The husky opened its mouth to bite me. The Scottish folds for also stood on end. But under Mom's threatening stick, the cat and dog could only swallow their anger. Evie, do you want to eat dog meat? Mom will stew dog meat for you tonight, okay? Mom asked me. Dad also said, now when I see this dog, I feel really bad. Let's just kill it. We have to get rid of the root of the problem. Senior Brother and I had no objection. The husky, however, was so scared it collapsed in the cage. The fake heiress at this moment seemed to be enjoying the show. How you treated me before, now it's your turn. Hilarious. How can someone be as stupid as you? I wrote on paper that I was Evie. How could you not take my words seriously at all? The husky cried, looking incredibly wronged and pitiful. I didn't expect Cindy to know witchcraft. I also didn't expect you to turn into a cat. What should I do? I'm going to die soon. Who can save me? Why isn't eating dog meat illegal? The fake heiress snorted coldly. Just wait. Tonight, I will possess Mom's body. Don't worry, you won't die. The husky was shocked again. What? Possess Mom? Then what about Mom? Does she become a cat? The fake heiress pouted. What else can we do? Only if I possess Mom can I save your life and keep Mom alive. The husky asked again. Then what do you plan to do after you become Mom? The fake heiress narrowed her eyes. Dad probably won't believe me easily. When I become Mom, I'll go find that evil Taoist from Mountain. and ask him to help us resolve our family crisis. I was watering the flowers nearby. Senior brother was loosening the soil in the flower pots. The entire conversation between the husky and the Scottish fold had reached our ears. We looked at each other and smiled, a decision already made in our hearts. That night, the Lord Cat God arrived as expected. Through the Lord Cat God's enlightenment, the fake heiress swapped bodies with the sleeping mother. Early the next morning, the mother, now containing Evie's soul, bought the best cat food and dog food and fed them to the husky and the Scottish fold. Presumably, while the whole family was asleep, Evie had already told the mother, now a cat, everything that had happened during that time. So, as soon as the Scottish fold saw me, it wanted to pounce on me and scratch me. The husky was also let out of its cage and bared its teeth, wanting to bite me. Seeing this, Dad protected me, pushing me behind him. He knocked the husky to the ground with a stick and kicked the frail Scottish fold away. Dad couldn't help but blame Mom. "What are you doing? Didn't we say we were going to kill the dog and stew it today? Why did you let it out again? This dog is vicious. If you let it out, it will definitely hurt Evie. And that cat, it's been chattering with the dog all day. I don't know what they're saying. It's very weird." Evie, now in Mom's body, gritted her teeth. Because I had once displayed Mountain Taoist magic in front of her, she deeply felt that she and Dad were no match for me. Moreover, I had an unfathomable senior apprentice brother by my side. Evie endured silently. After saying a few nice words to Dad, she led the husky and carried the Scottish fold towards Mountain. Senior brother and I exchanged a look. Then I said to Dad, "Dad, don't you think Mom is acting a little strange?" Dad was taken aback. "This morning, she did seem a bit odd." Senior brother added, "There's something I haven't told Dad. I don't know if I should say it now." Dad sensed something was wrong. "What is it? Tell me quickly. I'm your father. Is there anything I can't know?" Senior brother acted troubled. "Dad, do you remember the evil Taoist Mom went to see at Mountain? That Taoist doesn't like tobacco or alcohol nor money. He loves women the most." Dad's eyes widened. What do you mean?" Senior brother said mysteriously, "Mom, she might be having an affair." Dad's face turned green. Mountain Taoist Temple. The evil Taoist priest stared covetously at the mother's youthful body. "Mrs. Huang, what can I do for you this time?" Evie explained her origins and showed the cat and dog to the evil Taoist. The evil Taoist pinched his fingers and calculated, his brow deeply furrowed. This is a bit difficult." Evie took out 3 million in cash. The evil Taoist's eyes flashed. "It's not about the money. The main thing is I can't do anything unethical." Before the evil Taoist could finish speaking, Evie started taking off her clothes. "Enough talk. I know your rules. Hurry up. After you're done, rescue my brother and my mom from the cat and dog bodies." She had been through so many tomcats and feral cats she no longer cared about a little bit of chastity. The evil Taoist was practically drooling. And outside the door, Dad tried to rush in several times but was held back by me and senior brother. "Don't rush, Dad, don't rush. If you go in now, you won't be able to catch them in the act. Wait a little longer." At the critical moment, Dad rushed in with his phone live streaming. He slapped Evie across the face, exposing her on camera. Evie was shocked, and so were the cat and dog. As Dad was about to slap Evie again, the dog bit Dad's leg. The cat scratched Dad's face. Dad held on to Evie, refusing to let her go. While live streaming, he verbally abused his wife. "This cheap woman, she's had it too good for too long. She won't even spare a Taoist priest. Cheating on me. I'll ruin your reputation. I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Stupid cat, get lost. Damn dog, tired of living." The 2 humans, 1 cat, and 1 dog were entangled, fighting each other to the death. Evie, thinking quickly, blurted out the truth. "Dad, it's me, Evie. Tom is in the dog's body, and Mom is in the cat's body. You've been deceived." Dad was already furious beyond measure and wouldn't listen to Evie. "I was deceived by you, you tramp. You kept saying you loved me, but you ended up sleeping with this Taoist priest. Once wasn't enough, you wanted to cheat on me a second time." So Dad already knew about Mom and the evil Taoist's affair. "Dad, when I was 3, You cheated on me with your secretary. You two were fooling around in the office, and I caught you. You said it was our secret for life, and told me not to tell anyone. Do you remember? Dad froze, his expression changed. When I was 5, you had an affair with my kindergarten teacher for a while. That teacher even wanted to be my stepmom. Have you forgotten? Dad was startled again, his grip on Evie loosening. When I was 8, Mom hired a piano tutor for me. Don't you remember fooling around with the piano teacher in my room? These were all secrets between Dad and Evie. Evie had always helped Dad keep these secrets well hidden. If not for today's necessity, Evie might never have revealed them in her lifetime. But she had no choice. She really couldn't resolve the current family chaos. The Scottish fold, hearing this, was stunned. The husky also sighed. Are you really Evie? It really is me. Evie also told her father about the cat and dog. Dad looked at the Scottish fold, which he had just kicked viciously several times, and tears of heartache were about to fall. But the Scottish fold, having heard about Dad's infidelity, had its fur standing on end, and was crying and sniffling with anger. I'm sorry, honey, I've made you suffer. The husky also sidled up to Dad. The family of 4 was finally reunited. But they seemed to have forgotten one thing. Right now, the phone was live streaming. Damn, this is exciting. Wife cheats with a spiritual master, husband cheats on any woman he sees. No, the relationships are a bit messy now. The daughter is the wife is a cat, and the son is a dog. Ha 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 ha, is this a movie or is it real? Not sure about the cat and dog, but this man and woman are definitely Mr. and Mrs. Shun. They're really wild. This is probably the most interesting scandal of the year. That day, the scandal of the Shun group couple hit the top trending topics. Related topics numbered in the thousands. Many mistresses were exposed and subjected to doxing and cyberbullying. Of course, the dark history of the Shun family's 2 children was also dug up. This family's son is also a menace, involved in school bullying for years. He thinks he's rich and handsome, and he's played with the feelings of many girls. His sister is no good either. She pretends to be a pure and innocent beautiful girl, but she's actually a sea queen promiscuous. Truly like father like daughter. The funniest thing is, the Shun family's daughter isn't even Tom's biological child. His wife also plays around a lot outside, is a super VIP at major nightclubs, tops up her account starting from $1 million, and keeps a group of young, handsome boy toys. The more they dug, the more they found. The entire internet was looking for dirt on this family. Eventually, it didn't matter if it was true or false, the more bizarre it was, the higher the click-through rate. Overnight, former business partners of the Shun family terminated their contracts with Shun Corporation one after another. Tom was mired in scandal, unable to extricate himself. Facing the outside news, Evie wanted her father to pull himself together and quickly find the evil Taoist to save her mother and brother. Unfortunately, Tom only wanted to confirm if his children were his own. He plucked hairs from me and senior brother to do a DNA test. The result is the same as what was revealed online. Tom showed the results to Evie. Evie frowned. I was never your biological daughter anyway. Why are you showing me this? Does our relationship need to be maintained by blood ties? Tom sneered. Yes, our relationship doesn't need blood ties to be maintained, but my relationship with your mother needs this blood tie as proof. Tom stood up and grabbed the Scottish fold. Yes, I'm not clean, but I'm a man. As a woman, as the woman I deeply love, for you to do something that wrongs me like this, that's your fault. The Scottish fold thrashed and hissed, unwilling to give in, meowing loudly. Tom, you wronged me first. What right do you have to accuse me? Look at your own beer belly, your athlete's foot. Why should I stay faithful to you? You trash. You idiot. But Tom couldn't understand the cat's cries at all. He grabbed the cat by the neck and threw it directly into the feral cat gathering spot outside the Taoist temple. Since you're so promiscuous, I'll grant your wish. The Scottish fold struggled to escape. Unfortunately, the feral cats were too aggressive and wouldn't allow her to resist. The husky wanted to save the Scottish fold, but was leashed by Dad. Soon after, the aroma of dog meat wafted from the Taoist temple. I saw Dad sitting alone under the moon, taking a bite of meat and a sip of wine, venting his unhappiness. Evie, holding the already tortured to death cat and the dog's skin without its meat, cried her heart out. And at this moment, the Lord Cat God arrived. According to the Cat Pact, it's time for you to repay me. Evie had no other choice but to offer her soul, allowing the Lord Cat God to enter her mother's body. The cat god craved blood, and the Taoist temple was full of gluttonous and corrupt Taoists. That night, the Taoist temple was annihilated. Including Dad, 125 evil Taoists all died from excessive blood loss. The police investigated but found no clues. Ultimately, it could only be listed as a cold case. Before the Shun family's stock plummeted, Senior Brother and I sold all of Shun Corporation's shares. We also sold off all of the Shun family's assets. With immense wealth, we began to travel far and wide, specifically seeking out those who practiced demonic arts and evil ways, punishing villains, eliminating evil, and maintaining world peace.